This is Carrie Steller from In the Girls Corner, and I am here speaking with Samantha Wolf Queen Schell. How are you today, Samantha?
Um, Overall doing pretty good, except for, the amount of stress that we're currently dealing with.
What is going on? I thought that at the very least everything was taken care of. And every time that we think that like everything's gonna work out with, getting your money back for the flight after the fight with Flex, and it just seems like every time something is going okay with that, they try to just throw a million and 10 things at you and make it 20,000 times worse.
I mean, it definitely helps when you have this type of level of corruption that apparently runs really deep. I guess the promoter for Flex Fight Series has his whole family like involved between the New York State Athletic Commission and ISKA. And I guess he just has like connections all over and a lot of money to be handed out because this is something that like it's unheard of like in the fight game anywhere, not just, in the state of New York, but universally.
It's pretty absurd when you look at what they're doing. I've never seen, I mean, I've seen some pretty shady shit go on in New York. I live here, I've seen it, but not at this level. This is like next level. Whose pocket are you in? Why are people, why is the commission being, and I hate to say it, bought off so easily, because that's exactly what's going on. And there's a huge conflict of interest when ISKA is involved with them like that. Clearly.
There is, and I've been contacted by so many people who have, stories and proof of just this corruption for days, because this is something where it's not even the fact that they're, trying to get this overturned to a no contest. They're like, no, it is, you legally couldn't continue. It is ruled a TKO in her favor, which is insane because she was being dominated for like 2.5 minutes straight up until this point. Then to say that, the referee was right there, called it intentional because it was, and they're trying to say that it was in the process of standing up. No, there's so much video out there. You can clearly watch it. My butt was firmly planted on the ground. She aimed it directly at my head. Of course, I put my hands up because, there's a knee flying at my face when I'm on the ground. But the force of a forearm does not stop the power behind a standing knee. The doctor who was in the cage walked in and said that this fight was not allowed to continue. I was protesting because I was so upset with her having him missed weight, that I was, I wanted to continue this fight because I knew there was no way I was going to lose. I want to fight her again anywhere but New York,
Yes.
because it's just ridiculous. And to say that, I guess that the doctor's medical opinion and years of schooling can't be taken into account
Is absurd.
Oh, it's insane. And just the
Why
fact
are
that
they fighting
there's
it?
family members on the New York State Athletic Commission. I guess Todd Anderson and Kim, they're not even in the United States, they're in Canada. So they're taking forever to reply back. I guess they don't even live stateside.
Yeah,
And all the stuff that we're finding out.
that's good to know, because there's a couple things that have been brought to their attention, and this is not the first time I've heard that they're super slow on getting anything done professionally. That they're, and I people are gonna get mad. I don't really give a fuck, but this is my job. Ultimately, I became a journalist because I want to, help fighters, but I also want to expose the corruption and everything that's going on. And for me to not, I've had people don't go crazy. I'm like, no, this is my fucking job. I always said there has to be somebody to oversee all the commissions. There has to be something for
There
it.
has to, just to preserve the integrity, because right now there is no integrity. And to find out that they have so many people that have been employed by them, worked for them, or they're like related by blood, like it just shows that they can't separate themselves from an unbiased party. They're going to bat for this opponent who has, shown her character multiple times with racist and anti-Semitic tweets all over the place. Like
Oh
these
yeah,
people,
people forget that she did, and
she dated a neo-Nazi for years. Like
yeah, she did.
people
And a
forget
lot of my
this.
friends, my coach specifically was like, listen, should we, before you fought her, literally, he was like, should we give her a chance? I'm like, well, you always say you're for redemption. So let her show you if she's, a different person or not. And when he was like, can you show me the video? I'm like, yeah. So I sent him the video and everything. And he's like, dude, he's like, this, she's like clearly got, there's no change whatsoever in her. She can, change her verbiage, in the way that she uses it, but that doesn't take away from the character and who she is, right? So you look at that, she went to go train. I'm sure Lauren told you she went to go train at law, and
Yeah.
like absolutely, absolutely not. My coach called me. He's like, "Oh, no, we were at a fight night," and he's like, "Yo, I can't believe she showed up there." And I'm like, "No." Lauren calls me. I'm like, "This is crazy. She's got some balls doing that."
Yeah, it's just a morally reprehensible person. And when you
Literally.
find out, if there's anybody who's gone from like gym to gym and been kicked out of gyms, my coach likes to say if it happens more than once, it's a pattern.
Yes.
And there's just been, so many stories. And again, I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, but then from the get-go with the weigh-ins, when she was clearly 2 pounds over, not dehydrated, clearly hadn't been trying to cut. And there was shady practices going on with the New York State Athletic Commission that day, where they had told us like, you need to check your weight before you get in here, which I did, and I was fine. They never made her check her weight. They said that they will not make her cut any more weight. They were trying to not even penalize her for missing weight. And this was something that we were fighting for, because this is like showing up to your office job on a Monday and telling your boss like, hey, I didn't do half of what I was supposed to do, sorry.
Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like and then they painted it as this whole picture that as if I was the one that missed weight, when I've never missed weight in my amateur or professional career. I've even cut almost 20 pounds in 2 weeks when I had a short notice fight for Invicta. And I told them like, I will 100% make this weight. And I did, so it's just kind of a slap in the face to somebody who is clearly not even dehydrated, hadn't been cutting. And then the whole night of the fight, Iska kept trying to get involved, to the point where the person who was, I guess, not like my caretaker, kind of following me around and was scheduled to be with me that night, had to tell them like, you need to leave her alone. You are the amateur commission. You have nothing to do with the professionals.
Yeah.
And it was very like sketchy, where we were, on edge already, like, hey, there's something not right happening. And then I've been contacted multiple times from people who told me like, hey, Todd Anderson, if you Google him with his name, like he's listed in all these articles as like the #2 worst referee in MMA. Like Dana White has called him out specifically. And this is the type of person they have overseeing their commission, who's apparently very tight with Nick, the promoter of Flex Fight Series. So, they knew right away, like, we can get away with this. But unfortunately for them, like, I don't shut up about this stuff, because, whether it changes for me or not, like this, they cannot allow this to keep happening. This can't happen to the next person. To allow a fight that was clearly an intentional illegal knee, they're going to call it, instead of a disqualification or not even a no contest, but to call it a TKO in her favor when she was being mauled. Like, I took her down, I mounted her, I took her back, I had multiple submission attempts, and then she panicked, knew she couldn't win, and threw that knee directly at my head. But to say that this was like all a misunderstanding is the most insane thing I've ever heard.
Oh, it's it's beyond it crazy. Like there aren't really many words to describe what's going on. Um, it shows this is more of a WWE promotion, and they're more professional than this is, clearly.
Yeah, and they're like trying to fetishize, this whole like girl fight. Like, I'm a professional. I bust my butt. That's the whole reason why, even after she missed weight, I wanted to take this fight, because I've been in fight camp for 9 weeks, like working incredibly hard. And I'm still in the gym every day working hard. I've competed several times since this fight in jujitsu competitions. Thank you. Just working my butt off. And I've never, like, former promotions I have fought for, where I fought their hometown fighter, have contacted me to say that this is the most incredulous, defamatory thing that they've ever heard of, that they're really trying to take my name down, when I have nothing but honesty and integrity behind my name. And they have what money that they're paying people off.
It's making your star power rise. I don't think they realize what they're doing. I saw that I don't know if she works with BKFC, but I saw her comment bare knuckle fighting on your on one.
Yes.
Bare knuckle is literally like throwing money at girls, from what I'm understanding. They're paying them very heavily, more so than MMA. And they're, from what I'm understanding, I know girls personally that fight for them, and they are very well taken care of. That's something, if you are into, I would definitely consider it, because they're legitimizing themselves. You know what I mean? Where they are a bit of a show, in the way that, they have looks that they want, tattooed girls, girls that are, going to sell a fight, girls that are pretty, of course it's everything, but look at the names they have and where they're going. That might be something you might want to consider. But at the same time, I have a feeling, like I said the last time, you're going to have endless offers thrown at you because you're a professional.
Yeah, I've always made weight. Like I don't, and I've never like spoken ill about an opponent or any other promotion before, but it's cheating. And they have people like harassing me online. I've had to block so many people. And it's like, these are the types of professionals you have working for you.
I don't understand how people even take the time to do that. I mean, even if you're working for someone, that's like, that shows a lot about their character. And I'm really glad we're doing this because people, fighters from Long Island, from the New York area should know, don't fight for flex. I'm sorry. They can, you know what? They know I don't like them. And it is no secret that they don't like me. And I have no problems with calling them out for who they are and telling them nothing's gonna happen to me. What are they gonna do? To try to tarnish my name? Go, good luck. Good luck.
Yeah, you have too many people who can vouch for your character. I've had so many people contact me that they said like that they knew that the second I spoke about them, that they were going to try to come after me. And like I said, they can throw their money at whoever they want. Like people can see it with their eyes. They can see the truth. They know that this has never happened in like the history of MMA where something like this can be overturned. They're calling, they made no mention in the emails of the doctor and his professional medical opinion. They denigrate the referee and try to act like he had no idea what he was doing. And I don't even know if he works for them or anything like that. But in the email, like, yep, Christopher Molina, they
I'd love to contact him then and show him that email because he is not going to be very happy about that.
Yeah, they're completely criticizing his refereeing ability.
Okay. Because then I want to ask them, are they certified? Are they making sure that their refs are taking yearly certification courses? Like there are questions I want answered now.
And I've heard from other sources that they're not, that they're, they want all these people in their pocket.
Yeah.
And again, like you fight in other people's hometowns, you expect some favoritism to show because that's the name of the game, but you don't expect cheating and dishonesty and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's the craziest thing I've ever heard of. And to have, somebody who clearly, I mean, Dana White called out Todd Anderson himself.
Yep.
Like these are the types of people that they have working for them, where Kim is just a figurehead who like, they're not even involved and there to see, like, these are the types of people you have representing your company, people that harass anybody who was in favor of me. They're like going into their DMs, calling them all these names.
I'm literally going to send a commission this video. I'm sending them this and I'm going to tell them like, you really need to do something about this immediately because people are going to get sued.
And they didn't expect us. I don't think they expect us to fight back on this, but my husband he's one of my coaches. He's very upset by this. He told them like, we will take this to court. We will fight this because they told us like, oh, you have the option to contest this, but you have to do it in person in New York. And he was like, let's go. Like, we will do this because they can't get away with this.
No, and I don't think you should. This is worth it. There's a lot of things that aren't worth like, okay, you know what? Do we really want to go to New York? Well, first off, we'll hang out. Come to New York. It'll be awesome. Like do an in-person interview and train. That would be so much fun. John would be so excited, my coach. But you should, because this is the kind of things that are worth it. This is your name. This is your career. And at the end of the day, this is a promotion that don't give a fuck about anybody. And clearly the commission is definitely compromised. And something needs to be done and people need to.
The commission needs a total overhaul because they're just so corrupt and the corruption just runs so deep. Their whole media team, the fact that they were like harassing anybody, calling us names.
They never came at me.
And then because they know better, probably.
Yeah, they knew not to. They blocked me because I saw like you can read down your my statistics on my Facebook. So I looked at my statistics on the post that I made, right? And it says all posts hidden by one person, all but blocked by one person. I'm like, oh, I wonder who that was.
Yeah, it shows the analytics. It does that on TikTok as well. And I've posted about this on all different social medias. I've reached out to several publishers. I'm like, hey, do you like this story needs to get out there? And they were trying to like mess with me from the get-go to the fact that they spoke with me the day before, got all my information. And then the day of the fight, they called me like 4 or 5 different variations of
You
Samantha Schell and Wolf Queen. None of them were correct.
you said
Including
that.
like misgendering me, calling me like saying king when like clearly they know. They were just, trying to be like skeevy little slime bags.
Yeah, but you know what? In the world that we're living in with that as well, that's a pretty slippery slope for them to take, to be misgendering someone. The world
That's
we're
what I was
in,
thinking.
people take let me tell you something. I don't know the world that we're living in. I'm 43 years old, and it's extremely confusing for me because when I grew up, had you called somebody a they or an it or anything like that, you'd be looked at as a fucked up individual because that's a human person. They're not an it or an object. So for me, this is really hard to, it's a hard pill to swallow to use a pronoun for someone when I just look at people as people and I want to call them
Right? Like you
names.
can have your favoritism, but it's, still show people respect. Like I've worked hard. I've worked hard
But
for my
deserving
name,
that.
like to purposely, and like they could be like, oh, it was accidental. No, like
Yeah,
you watch the video,
it's
it
on
was, like I said, 4 or 5 different variations.
yeah.
When they had spoken to me the day before, the same people and everything was correct. One of their media people, I actually, looked into them a little bit, and she went viral on TikTok for all the wrong reasons a while ago. There was like an account, a gym account, Joey Swole, who posts videos of people being like kind of shitty humans at a gym, like whether they're trying to like
Have 'em.
make fun of somebody publicly or shame people. And she did that to somebody, and her account blew up because it, like that's the type of people they are. They make fun of people
I get it.
online.
Like,
And
I
like
don't know
again,
who anybody that writes for them. I don't know who any of their media people are. I only know the people that own it because of the former promotion. And I know some of the people that are still key players in there, but like I didn't know they had a female media person.
yeah, and I didn't realize that it was so hard to just be like a decent human being,
Yeah.
like to film somebody at a gym without their knowledge in the sole purpose of making fun of them. Like, what kind of person? I'm always that type of person where I work so hard to like lead by example and help people and try and be that person that I wish I always had, like when I'm in vulnerable situations. And these people just like to tear others down. They're dishonest. They have zero integrity, no morals, no scruples, no values, nothing like that. And it's just like, this is the type of brand you want. And then this is the type of people that you want representing a whole athletic commission.
Oh yeah. And then the people that fight for them and think that, I mean, like I have friends that think they're fighting for a legitimate organization. And I'm sure that's because they don't show everybody that side of who they
Mhm.
are, so they only see, oh, they're getting me this, they're putting on this, they're doing that, and they don't see what they're doing to the person's opponent, especially if they're out of state. See, they
Yeah.
thought that
And
we're going to be able to silence you and shut you up and shut you down.
And
Well,
when they found out, like when we found out after that they had been through several name changes,
oh
with
yeah,
tax evasion and
or,
lawsuits.
or and
I
yes,
mean,
I know that. My friend was
that's
told,
incredible.
he was like, nope, I don't know that anymore. So you got to go talk to somebody else. Like, oh yeah, no, they've been under like four organizational names that I know of.
And they have so many issues with other people. Like again, at some point you can't blame other people. Like it's you. You have
Yeah.
this many issues with other people. It's definitely you. You are the most common denominator
Yes.
and the relating fact. Like it is you. And the whole fact where like all of a sudden our flights home were canceled and we'll never get the money back for that.
It's just it. None of it. Absolutely none of it makes any sense. You would think that they would want to make themselves look on the up and up, and try to bury the situation in the way of like, all right, let's take care of her just so that, we don't have to get bad publicity. But I guess for them, any publicity is good publicity, even when it's bad, because they weren't getting any.
Yeah.
They
And I mean, they're looking to get themselves buried now because again, if they had just let bygones be bygones and not pursued anything here, like nobody would still be, I wouldn't be talking about them still. But the fact that this whole thing is happening, like now I'm not going to shut up about it.
No, and you should, nor should you. Nor should you. You should never shut up and shut yourself down because, a couple of guys, who own a shit organization that's literally an entertainment company at this point, who are parading themselves around to be great. And they do come off, when you look at their videos and stuff as an outsider, and who hasn't fought for them, And I never fought for them. I just had done a lot of media for them back in the day with my friends. Now they changed completely. It was normal when it was Triton fights. It was like for the beginning part, it was like a normal mixed martial arts promotion, amateur, and then they started going with like the entertainment in the middle with the hip hop stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is going to a place I didn't expect. This is MMA. What are we doing? Okay, whatever. Arts. So now, I'm looking at everything they're doing as a whole, and they have good production, but when you're a shit fucking person and you have just a collective of shit people, and literally their collective record of like humanism is just terrible. So
Yeah, they're slapping lipstick on a pig right now, they're trying to present something that they're not.
You could paint rust any other color and it's still rust underneath it. I mean, there's nothing good about them. And I really, really sincerely hope that people watch this and that people take a stand, because if it's not going to happen to them, it will happen to somebody else and somebody else and somebody else, whether it's a favorite in the town, because I'm guaranteeing you that they've like done that to people in the area that who they don't want to win.
Yeah, there's reputations, and I've again been contacted by people that say that they will do whatever they can to fix fights, have these unfair matchups, and you hear about stuff like this happening, but then it gets to the point where it's just so repetitive and so habitual, that this is something that like they're bullies and they're harassing people. It's 2022. Like you would think at this point, like it's good to see so many people facing the backlash and the repercussions of these actions, and they're next in line. Like they cannot keep throwing money to make their problems go away when they are like, this is my career, they're messing with my career and doing things like listing me as at the incorrect weight when I have never missed weight. I will always hold myself to the highest degree, or I would not sign that contract if I thought there was any chance where I would miss, so they're messing with my name, they're messing with my gym, my team, and my record. Mm-hmm.
They're defaming your character. And I mean, your body of work and everything shows you're anything but what they're saying. So in that way, they're really burying themselves, because this is a clear defamation of character case upon other things.
Right. You explore them, they have multiple like lawsuits against them.
I know that.
And different things like that. Yeah, they're, like not public now because they haven't been brought to court yet. But there are people that are seeking like litigation against them.
I know a couple people that are, yep.
And different things like that. You can like research, like even like with my last opponent, and see those racist, anti-Semitic tweets that she did. You look into my background, you don't see anything like this, because I'm, if I've made mistakes in the past, they've never been content of character mistakes. They've been normal human mistakes. They're not the type of person that would like steal from the poor, like these are the type of people they are.
A gross kind of person, and the things that she said and the things that she's done in the past, and I don't care what people say. Listen, your past shouldn't reflect on who you are. However, when your present does, it just shows that, like, what, that guy that she dated probably isn't too fucking far away from her. Because
if you don't learn and grow from the things you do, like I never had an issue with her past career choice doing porn. Like I was like, you know what, make your money, do like different things. Like we've all done things,
and that's business.
But talking about like she made like remarks against Black women, Asian women, Jewish women, like things like that, and I'm like, come on, like at some point, like you need to be held accountable for the things that you've said.
Yep. Oh yeah, and people are, brushing it under the rug, because she's, oh, I've changed. No, you have not at all whatsoever. You're literally the same fucking person. You're just not using the same words, which that'll come. You know what I mean? Sooner or later, she'll get mad and she'll say something about somebody, and it'll be a racist tweet. And you know what? She should be held accountable for everything.
I mean, she's definitely not a good person, because I'm a triplet. I have two brothers. We're very close. When I say my brothers, oh really? See, yeah. When I say that my brothers are the kindest, most honest, nicest, sweetest human beings, and if my brothers do not like you for any certain reason, like you are a terrible person, like that tells me, me, I've had my issues with people. I'm a little bit more outspoken and abrasive than they are, but they are the nicest people. So if they ever have an issue with somebody, it tells me all I need to know about that person.
Oh yeah, That's so funny that you're a twin or triplet. I'm a twin. I have a twin sister, and same thing.
Are you
You're
guys identical or fraternal?
fraternal. We're fraternal. And I'm sure people have asked you if you're identical, which like
Yeah. And I'm like,
I know
brothers.
people have asked you that because like I've heard people ask twins that are like a boy and a girl, are you identical? I'm like, very.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't even tell us apart.
Like the most identical ever. That's amazing. Do they train at all?
So my one brother, this is actually funny. He's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm a four-stripe brown belt, so I'm like just behind him. He started a little bit before me. And when he had started, I was like, I'm the one that wanted to be the fighter. He never wanted to compete. He did compete and fight a few times unwillingly because my dad had talked him into it. But my brother, he helps little old ladies cross the street. He'll save like kittens and from the rain. Like he hates violence, hates competition. He works with kids now as an SRO, school resource officer, and they just make him cards all the time. Like he's the most caring, sweetest person. He's a great husband to his wife. I made a video about my brothers recently. That went kind of viral on TikTok because they're just such good people. My other brother is a professor at SCAD, the #1 art school in the country. And he is insanely talented. Like we have paintings that he's done that are hanging up at the gym and in my house. And if you ever look at his Instagram, art by Jared Seth, he does a lot of like MMA and jujitsu paintings just because he's, he loves like the human body. That's like his big focus. And so he's painted like the muscles and the striations and things like that. So he's super
Oh, that's
talented.
amazing. I got to look up his work. That's so cool. So you come from a very, very talented family. I am not surprised. You've had some great matches in the last couple weeks since everything happened. And I'm really glad that you are continuing with competing and you're not letting this get you down because you know what? The sport is
And
filled.
it did for a day.
I know.
Like there
I
was
know.
a good 24 hours where I was
How could
like,
it not,
I'm
right?
done.
How could it not? But you know what? We're allowed to fall on the floor. We're allowed to cry, but we're not allowed to stay there. We don't belong down there. So I'm really glad that you went right back to competing and got right back on that horse because you should. You're a winner. You should not close that door because of one or a couple pieces of shit in one shitty promotion who I can assure you the fact that they've continued, I just was like, I didn't know how bad it's gotten. I thought that that was the end of it and that they were gonna, things were gonna work out. Well, I don't care to like give them any kind of a good promotion. It's bad enough that I had to even say their name. But I want to in
Yep.
a way that people need to know that Flex Fights is an absolutely corrupt promotion. And I
Right. And like saying it brings a bile in the back of your throat. But
yeah,
I agree, like people need to know not to get involved with them. And, I've worked with several promotions just in the past few weeks since then, just competition wise. I'll be competing again on Sunday. And it's just so crazy to see like how this one stands out so much. There's been promotions I've liked more than others, but none that I've specifically have gone out of my way to speak ill about. And the whole thing is just the fact that they pursued this case when there to me is no case.
yeah.
They knew that they had people and enough money that they can get things overturned, which makes zero sense. Like they knew that if they pursued it, that they had people in their back pocket who would make sure that this corruption took place.
That's the only thing that makes sense. Because why would you do that and risk, well, I mean, how many fight organization names do you have to have? You know what I mean? Before you
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. And like, watch, this will all come to light. And then in another month, they're going to come out under a new name
it's
and
absurd.
people
They
aren't,
should have their licenses pulled and never be allowed to have a promotion again. In my personal opinion, there has to be some kind of accountability. And the fact that there's not, like you said, it just makes the sport a mockery. And it doesn't need to be a mockery. In New York, technically, we're still in our infancy with MMA. And
yeah, it was like the last state to legalize
yes,
MMA.
yes. And here we are still acting like a fucking retards. I hate to say it, but how slow to learn do you have to be? I mean, it's the literal definition because somebody's like, you said they're retarded. Yes, I did. And they are. So it's incredible that it's gotten this far. But what's really incredible is that they don't understand what be stay woke and quite a few people that have contacted me as well that are there. A lot of people are really pissed and they're starting to see the sanctioning body for what that is too, ISCA. And if I was said referee Chris Molina, I would be leaving them in short order, because if you're going to tarnish my name as a professional, I'm not going to let that happen in any way. So, they know that they can try. They tried to tarnish your name. We're not going to let that happen. Nobody's letting that happen. So they're just making themselves look like complete assholes. Um, they're going to try to tarnish Chris's name, and I should hope that he's going to stand up and
I hope he does, because they did not say, they do not paint him in a good light in that email at all.
they no, I'm going to contact him, because you know what, it's that's not right, and he should be able to defend his name. And it really shows like what kind of character they have. Like you said, I went ham, and they haven't said a fucking thing. Nor has Rebecca. Not one person has contacted me, nor will have the balls to. But what's crazy, and that's because they know I'm already gonna contact Kim and Todd. I'm fucking pissed. I've had enough of hearing about their corruption and seeing it. And I've looked at matches and been like, really? Like that's a match you're putting on? Like, as a like what? And
Mhm.
I love my friends, but to the friends that have done that, like, and fought like on, bordering, like you're fighting someone with a 0-0 record, you think you're gonna like not win, like, you know what I mean? I've seen the numbers that they put up together and seen some of the fucking people's records, and I'm like, this is absurd, and it really does. It'll make somebody a star, or at least, a local star.
Yeah, and that's, and again, like you see, promotions will always favor their hometown fighters
Yeah,
and things like that. But to take away our plane tickets home,
that's absurd.
to keep pursuing this and fighting for somebody who's what, like, come on, if she even fights again. And I did hear that she had a fight in Pennsylvania that the commission would not allow, the Pennsylvania
Really?
commission. And I wonder what that's about. And I wonder if it has anything to do with just her character or her previous missed weight or different shady practices like that. And
I
it's just like, this is going to catch up with them at some
it
point.
will.
Like, I'm convinced.
It'll catch up with her. There are commissions that, like, I've seen fighters from New York that I know that don't have great records that have been denied by other commissions not from New York. New York has given them a fight, and other commissions has said, no, you have no reason to be fighting. We're not gonna, issue you this fight. That's happened. So it could be a multitude of reasons. It
I
could
mean,
be
she's a liability. She's
they
throwing
could
clear
watch
legal
that fight.
strikes and not making weight.
Yeah, they could have watched your fight. That could be enough right there. You
Dude,
know,
I'll never forget the amount of shock that I felt seeing like that rear near, like the knee just rear back. I was like, there's no way that this is happening.
yeah.
Like,
And then
and
that
the
has
first
to
thing I said to my coach was, she did this on purpose, like right away, as soon as it happened.
Yep.
It
I
was
mean,
like the
how could
first thing
you
I
not?
said.
You probably saw it in slow motion. In my personal opinion,
I swear it felt like slow motion. I was
it
like, what
happens.
is happening?
It's okay. So there's very few rules. No nos. 12-6. A lot of people argue that it shouldn't be a rule. The only way that I personally agree with that is when you're hitting somebody in their forehead and their face, because you. I just think the downward motion could do a ton of fucking damage. Less than that. Personal opinion, I could be wrong. However, there are a few rules. That is one of them. Grounded
Mhm.
opponent. Everybody knows that rule. There's been how many fights that have been like in UFC questioned and overturned, and you know what I mean? Everything over that, or just a disqualification. How many?
My
Oh,
somebody in our affiliation, Alan Crowder, was in the UFC. He
yes.
fought Greg Hardy in New York, and that exact same thing happened to him.
Isn't that funny? Because I remember that fight.
Yeah, so him and I had quite the lengthy discussion when we trained together the other week.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. I really, really, truly, like I said, hope that this interview, and it just sucks that it happened to you, but I really hope that this changes things. And I mean, hey, wouldn't it be amazing to be the face of change, to be like the catalyst of why things got better in New York? Oh, a fighter from Florida came up and changed everything.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely love for this never to happen to anybody else. Like, if it's gonna happen to anybody, I know I am like mentally strong enough to be able to deal with like this verbal onslaught and the vitriolic behavior that's just spewing forth from their mouths. But and it sucks and it is unfortunate, but like I'd rather it be me than somebody else who would just really crumble from just the amount of adversary they're receiving.
It's tough, and people don't realize how tough. I mean, words shouldn't hurt, but they do. And
Yeah, they tell you not to let them, but they definitely do, you know, like,
what
we're
happened
human
with
beings.
them?
People I mean, bullying is a thing for a reason. It's
Yep.
because it does hurt. And nowadays, you know, back in the day, like once you don't see somebody face to face anymore, the bullying ends. But nowadays with social media, it's rampant. It'll follow you anywhere 24/7.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I look forward to their day coming. And I look forward to you coming and fighting in New York, and I'll be at your fight because I have a feeling you're going to end up fighting here for somebody that's a good promotion, is going to treat you like you should.
Yeah,
And
with an overhaul of the New York State Athletic Commission.
yeah, no, there has to be because it's absurd. And or I mean, like, yeah, hey, if you're in the New York area, I will be coming to your fight because I would love to see you compete. Would love to see you fight. You have a competition on Sunday. Who is it for? Where is it at?
Um, a local Fuji grappling tournament here in Raleigh. I'm actually going down to Myrtle Beach tomorrow to coach somebody in a IKF in a point kickboxing tournament. And then, yep, and then I'll be driving back that same day so that I can coach and compete on Sunday.
I thought you were from Florida for some reason. Might have.
Originally from Florida.
That's where I thought it was.
Yeah,
Okay.
Miami.
Okay. That's why I'm like, wait a second. I'm so confused. Oh, that's really cool. Carolinas are amazing. And that's not far, like between everywhere. So you can, that's amazing. What a great spot.
And I'm near Raleigh, so you know we get a little bit of everything over here.
That's great. Now, do you have any fights on the horizon coming up yet? Or are you kind of just waiting a little bit?
Just waiting a little bit. I've been you know, rehabbing some stuff and then focusing on different aspects of my training that I want to improve upon. But I've been in talks with several different people and different promotions, and we're definitely going to vet every promotion and make sure that it is the right choice. But I honestly don't see how anybody could even come close to as terrible as that one was.
They can't. And I could definitely, if you send me the name of some of the promotions, I'll let you know what I think of them and if I've heard anything, and I'll do a little work because this should never happen to anybody, and it shouldn't happen with any promotion. But I've never heard of it happening like this ever. So I don't think you're going to have that problem with anything else. But I do want to leave the floor open for you if there's anything that you want to get out, sponsors to thank, people, gym coaches, whatever. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I do. I'm always going to shout out my gym, Shell Shock BJJ. We just have, you know, very integral people that train there, super honest people, people that have supported me. They said, like, let them know and they will make a road trip to New York to vouch for my character. Obviously, they don't have to do things like that. But even the people that have just reached out to me randomly, I've received so many messages from people I don't even know that told me, like, hey, you're inspirational, the fact that you're not standing up for this, like, people, I've been following your career and things like that. And you know, as much as the bullying will get to you, certain small comments like that mean the world to you. I was working out at the gym earlier today and somebody told me I had nice arms, and, like, you know, stuff like that. Just like, I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna be riding that high all week.
Perfect teeth as a fighter. How does that happen?
I Word of advice, right? Invest in a custom mouth guard always.
Yo, that's actually very funny because I was gonna say, what kind of mouth guard do you use?
Yeah, it's I always get the custom mouth guard. I think mine now is from DC, but I always make sure to do like the full mold because I had braces for 3 years. I'm not trying to ruin that.
So did I. Well, Samantha, thank you so, so much. We appreciate everything. And I'm looking forward to speaking to you again because we're going to be doing more interviews.
Perfect. I look forward to it, Carrie. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a fantastic day.
You too.